Hello, my name is Deanne, and this is Deanne's Treasure Studio, where I read content not available on Audible. Free reading 2024 Players Handbook, Chapter 3, Character Class Warlock. We will commence with our journey. Typically, a warlock is depicted as a male practitioner of dark arts of magic. In many traditional fantasy settings, warlocks drew upon magical power through pacts with powerful entities delving in forbidden knowledge and partaking in mystical dark practices. Quite similar to the Dungeons and Dragons concept, minus the gender attachment. There is no gender associated with the warlock in D&D. So let's get on with it. Core warlock traits. Primary ability, charisma. Hit point dice D8 per warlock level. Saving throw proficiencies, wisdom and charisma. Skill proficiencies, choose 2. Arcana, deception, history, intimidation, investigation, nature, or religion. Weapon proficiencies, simple weapons, armor training, light armor, equipment, starting equipment, choose A or B. A is leather armor, sickle, 2 daggers, arcane focus, orb, book, occult lore, scholar's pack, and 15 gold pieces, or 100 gold pieces. Warlock's quest for knowledge that lies hidden in the fabric of the multi-universe. They often begin their search for magical power by delving into tomes of forbidden lore, dabbling in invocations meant to attract the power of extraplanar beings, or seeking places of power where the influence of these beings can be felt. In no time, each warlock is drawn into a binding pack with a powerful patron, drawing on the ancient knowledge of beings which, such as angels, archfays, demons, devils, hags, and an alien entities of the far realm. Warlocks piece together arcane secrets to bolster their own power. Warlocks view their patron as sources, as a means to an end of achieving magical power. Some warlocks respect, revere, or even love their patrons. Some serve their patrons grudgingly, and some seek to undermine their patrons even as they wield the power of the patrons have given them. Once a pact is made, a warlock's thirst for knowledge and power can't be sated with the mere study. Most warlocks spend their days pursuing greater power and deeper knowledge, which typically means some kind of adventure. Becoming a warlock. As a level 1 character, gain all of the traits in the core warlock traits table. Gain the warlock's level 1 features which are listed in the warlock features table. As a multiclass character, gain the following traits from the core warlock traits table: hit points, die, and training with light armor. Gain the warlock's level 1 features which are listed in the warlock's features table. See the multiclassing rules in Chapter 2 to determine your available spell slots. Warlock class features. As a warlock, you gain the following class features when you reach specified warlock levels. These features are listed in the warlock features table. Level 1, Eldritch Invocations. You have unearthed Eldritch Invocations, pieces of forbidden knowledge that imbue you with a binding magical ability or other lessons. You gain 1 invocation of your choice, such as Pact of the Tongue. Invocations are described in the Eldritch Invocations options sections later in this class's description. Prerequisites. If an invocation has a prerequisite, you must meet or learn that invocation. For example, if an invocation requires you to be a level 5 plus Warlock, if the invocation Warlock, you can select the invocation once you reach Warlock level 5. Replacing and gaining invocations. Whenever you gain a Warlock level, you can replace one of your invocations with another, one for which you qualify. You can't replace an invocation if it's a prerequisite for another invocation that you have. When you gain certain Warlock levels, you gain more invocations of your choice, as shown in the invocations column of the Warlock features table. You can't pick the same invocation more than once unless its description says otherwise. Level 1. Pact Magic. Through occult ceremony, you have formed a pact with a mysterious entity to gain magical powers. The entity is a voice in the shadows. Its identity unclear, but its boon to you is concrete: the ability to cast spells. See Chapter 7 for the rules on spell casting. The information below details how you use those rules with Warlock spells, which appear in the Warlock spell list later in the class's description. Cantrips. You know 2 Warlock cantrips of your choice, Eldritch Blast and Prestidigitation, are recommended. Whenever you gain a Warlock level, you can replace one of your cantrips from this feature in another Warlock cantrip of your choice. When you reach Warlock levels 4 and 10, you learn another Warlock cantrip of your choice, as shown in the cantrips column of the Warlock features table. On the top of page 154, we have the Warlock features tables from 1 to 20. And then on the other side, you have the Warlock invocations from 1 to 10. Your cantrips, prepared spells, spell slots, and spell level. Spell slots. The Warlock features table shows how many spell slots you have to cast your Warlock spells of 1 to 5. The table also shows the level of those slots, all of which are the same level. You regain all expended pact of magic spell slots when you finish a short or long rest. For example, when you're 5th level Warlock, you have 2 third spell slots. You cast level 1 spell Witch Bolt. You must spend one of those slots, and you can cast it as a level 3 spell. Prepared spells of level 1 plus. You prepare the list of spells 1 plus spells that are available for you to cast with this feature. To start, choose 2 level 1 Warlock spells. Charm Person and Hex are recommended. The number of spells on your list increases as you gain Warlock levels, as shown in the prepared spells column of the Warlock features table. Whenever that number increases, choose additional Warlock spells until the number of spells on your list matches the number in the table. The chosen spells must be a level no higher than what's shown in the table slot level column for your level. When you reach level 6, for example, you learn a new Warlock spell, which can be of levels 1 to 3. If another Warlock feature gives you spells that you always have prepared, those spells don't count against the number of spells you can prepare with this feature, but those spells otherwise count as Warlock spells for you. changing your prepared spells. Whenever you gain a Warlock level, you can replace a spell on your list with another Warlock spell of an eligible level. Spellcasting ability. Charisma is your spellcasting ability for your Warlock spells. Spellcasting focus. You can use an arcane focus as a spellcasting focus for your Warlock spells. Level 2 magical cunning. You can perform an esoteric rite for 1 minute. I don't know why I couldn't say that. At the end of it, you regain expended pack magic spell slots, but no more than the number equal to half your maximum round up. Once you use this feature, you can't do so again until you finish a long rest. Level 3 Warlock subclass. You gain a Warlock subclass of your choice. The Archfey Patron, the Celestial Patron, the Fiend Patron, and the Great Old One Patron subclasses are detailed after this class's description. A subclass is a specialization that grants you features at certain Warlock levels. For the rest of your career, you gain each of your subclass features that are of your Warlock level or lower. Level 4, Ability Score Improvement. You gain the Ability Score Improvement feat, see Chapter 5, or another feat of your choice for which you qualify. You gain this feature again at Warlock levels 8, 12, and 16. Level 9, Contact Patron. In the past, you usually contacted your patron through intermediaries. You can communicate directly. You always have the contact other plane spell prepared. With this feature, you can cast the spell without expending a spell slot to contact your patron, and you automatically succeed on the spell's saving throw. Once you cast a spell with this feature, you can't do so in this way again until you finish a long rest. Level 11, Mystic Arcanum. Your patron grants you a magical secret called an Arcanum. Choose one level 6 Warlock spell as this Arcanum. You can cast your Arcanum spell once without expending a spell slot, and you must finish a long rest before you can cast it again in this way. Or you can cast it in this way again. I read it kind of backwards. As shown in the Warlock features table, you gain another Warlock spell of your choice that can be cast in this way when you reach Warlock's levels 13, level 7 spell, 15, level 8 spell, and 17, level 9 spell. You regain all uses of your Mystic Arcanum when you finish a long rest. Whenever you gain a Warlock level, you can replace one of your Arcanum spells with another Warlock spell of the same level. Level 19, Epic Boon. You gain an Epic Boon feat. See Chapter 5. And another feat of your choice for which you qualify. Boon of Fate is recommended. Level 20, Eldritch Master. When you use your magical cunning feature, you regain all your expended pack magic spell slots. Eldritch Invocation options. Eldritch Invocation options appear in alphabetical order. Agonizing Blast. Prerequisite, level 2 plus Warlock. A Warlock cantrip that deals damage. Choose one of your known Warlock cantrips that deals damage. You can add your Charisma modifier to the spell's damage rolls. Repeatable. You can gain this invocation more than once. Each time you do, choose a different eligible cantrip. Armor of Shadows. You can cast Mage Armor on yourself without expending a spell slot. Ascendant Step. Prerequisite, level 5+ Warlock. You can cast Levitate on yourself without expending a spell slot. Devil's Sight. Prerequisite, level 2+ Warlock. You can see normally in dim light and darkness, both magical and non-magical, within 120 feet of yourself. Devouring Blade. Prerequisite, level 12+ Warlock. Thirsting Blade Invocation. The extra attack on your Thirsting Blade invocation confers 2 extra attacks rather than 1. Eldritch Mind. You have advantage on Constitution saving throws that you make to maintain concentration. Eldritch Smite. Prerequisite, level 5+ Warlock, Pact of the Blades invocation. Once per turn, when you hit a creature with your packed weapon, you can expend a packed magic spell slot to deal an extra 1d8 force damage to the target plus another 1d8 per level of the spell slot. And you can give the target the prone condition if it is huge or smaller. Eldritch Spear. Level 2+ Warlock. A Warlock cantrip that deals damage. Choose one of your known Warlock cantrips that deals damage and has a range of 10+ feet. When you cast a spell, its range increases by a number of 10 feet equal to 30 times your Warlock level. Let me read that. When you cast that spell, its range increases by a number of feet equal to 30 times your Warlock level. Okay, that sounds a little better. Repeatable. You can gain this invocation more than once. Each time you do so, choose a different eligible cantrip. Fiendish Vigor. Prerequisite, level 2+ Warlock. You can cast False Life on yourself without expending a spell slot. When you cast the spell with this feature, you don't roll the die for the temporary hit points. You automatically get the highest number on the die. That's the end of page 155. Gaze of Two Minds. Prerequisite, level 5+ Warlock. You can use a bonus action to touch a willing creature and perceive through its senses until the end of your next turn. As long as the creature is on the same plane of existence as you, you can take a bonus action to subsequent turns to maintain this connection, extending the duration until the end of your next turn. The connection ends if you don't maintain it in this way. While perceiving through the other creature's senses, you benefit from the special senses possessed by the creature. And you can cast spells as if you were in your space or the other creature's space if the two of you are within 60 feet of each other. Gift of the Depths. Prerequisite, level 5+ Warlock. You can breathe underwater, and you gain a swim speed equal to your speed. You can also cast water breathing once without expending a spell slot. You regain the ability to cast it in this way until you finish a long rest. Gift of the Protectors. Prerequisite, level 9+ Warlock, Pact of the Tome invocation. A number page appears in your Book of the Shadows when you conjure it. With your permission, a creature can take an action to write its name on that page, which can contain a number of names equal to your charisma modifier, minimum of 1 name. When any creature whose name is on the page is reduced to 0 hit points, but not killed outright, the creature magically drops to 1 hit point instead. Once this magic is triggered, no creature can benefit from it until you finish a long rest. As a magic action, you can erase a name on the page by touching it. Investment of the Chain Master. Prerequisite: level 5 plus Warlock Pact of the Chain invocation. When you cast Find Familiar, you infuse the summoned familiar with a measure of your eldritch power, granting the creature the following benefits: aerial or aquatic. The familiar gains either a fly speed or a swim speed, your choice, of 40 feet. Quick attack. As a bonus action, you can command a familiar to take an attack action. Necrotic or radiant damage. When the familiar deals bludgeoning, piercing, or slashing damage, you can make it deal necrotic or radiant damage instead. Your save DC. If the familiar forces a creature to make a saving throw, it uses your spell DC. Resistance. When the familiar takes damage, you can take a reaction to grant it resistance against that damage. Lessons of the First Ones. Prerequisite: level 2 plus Warlock. You have received knowledge from an elder entity of the multiverse, allowing you to gain 1 origin feat of your choice. See Chapter 5. Repeatable. You can gain this invocation more than once. Each time you do so, choose a different origin feat. Life Drinker. Prerequisite: 9 plus Warlock. Pact of the Blades invocation. Once per turn, when you hit a creature with your pact weapon, you can deal an extra 1d6 necrotic, psychic, or radiant damage, your choice, to the creature, and you can expend 1 of your hit points dice to roll it and gain a number of hit points equal to the roll plus your constitution modifier, minimum of 1 hit point. Mask of Many Faces. Prerequisite: level 2 plus Warlock. You can cast Disguise Self on yourself without expending a spell slot. Master of the Myriad Forms. Prerequisite: level 5 Warlock. You can cast Older Self without expending a spell slot. Misty Visions. Prerequisite: level 2 plus Warlock. You can cast Silent Image without expending a spell slot. One with the Shadows. Prerequisite: level 5 plus Warlock. While you're in an area of dim light or darkness, you can cast Invisibility on yourself without expending a spell slot. Otherworldly Leap. Prerequisite: level 2 plus Warlock. You can cast Jump on yourself without expending a spell slot. Pact of the Blade. As a bonus action, you can conjure a pact weapon in your hand, a simple or martial melee weapon of your choice, which you bond, or create a bond with a magical weapon you touch. You can't bond with a magical weapon if someone else is attuned to it, or another warlock is bonded with it until the bond ends. You have proficiency with the weapon, and you can use it as a spellcasting focus. Whenever you attack with a bonded weapon, you can use your charisma modifier for the attack and damage rolls instead of using strength or dexterity. And you can cause the weapon to deal necrotic, psychic, or radiant damage, or its normal type damage type. Your bond with the weapon ends if you use this feature's bonus action again. If the weapon is more than 5 feet away from you for 1 minute or more, or if you die. The conjured weapon disappears when the bond ends. Pact of the Chain. You learn the Find Familiar spell and can cast it as a magic action without expending a spell slot. When you cast this spell, you choose one of the normal forms of your familiar or of the following special forms: Imp, Pseudo-Dragon, Quasit, Skeleton, Salad, Tadpole, Sphinx of Wonder, Sprite, or Venomous Snake. See Appendix B for the familiar stat blocks. Additionally, when you take the attack action, you can forego one of your own attacks to allow your familiar to make one attack of its own with its reaction. Tome of Pact of the Tome. Stitching together strands of shadow, you conjure forth a book in your hand at the end of a short or long rest. This book of shadows, you determine its appearance, contains eldritch magic that only you can access, granting you the benefits below. The book disappears if you conjure another book or with this feature, or if you die. Cantrips and rituals. When the book appears, choose 3 cantrips and choose 2 level 1 spells that have the ritual tag. The spells can be from any class's spell list. They must be spells you don't already have prepared. While the book is in your person, you have the chosen spells prepared, and they function as a warlock spells for you. Spellcasting focus. You can use your book as a spellcasting focus. Repeating blast. Prerequisite level 2 plus warlock. A warlock cantrip that deals damage via an attack roll. Choose one of your known warlock cantrips that requires an attack roll. When you hit a large or smaller creature with a cantrip, you can push the creature up to 10 feet straight away from you. Repeatable. You can gain this invocation more than once. Each time you do, choose a different eligible cantrip. Thirsting Blade. Prerequisite. Level 5 plus Warlock Pact of the Blade invocation. You gain the extra attack feature for your packed weapon only. With that feature, you can attack twice with the weapon instead of once when you take the attack action on your turn. Visions of Distant Realms. Prerequisite 9 plus Warlock. You can cast Arcane Eye without expending a spell slot. Whispers of the Grave. Prerequisite level 7 plus Warlock. You can cast Speak with the Dead without expending a spell slot. Witch Sight. Prerequisite level 15 Warlock. You have True Sight with the range of 30 feet. Warlock Spell List. This section presents the Warlock Spell List. The spells are organized by the spell level and alphabetized, and each spell's school of magic is listed. In the special column, C means the spell requires concentration. R means it's a ritual. And M means it requires specific material components. Cantrips. Blade Ward. Chill Touch. Eldritch Blast. Friends. Mage Hand. Mind Sliver. Minor Illusion. Poison Spray. Prestidigitation, Thunderclap, Toll the Dead, True Strike. Level 1 Warlock spells. Armor of Amethyst, Arms of Hadar, Bane, Charm Person, Comprehend Languages, Detect Magic, Expeditious Retreat, Hellish Rebuke, Hex, Illusionary Script, Protection from Evil and Good, Speak with Animals, Tasha's Hideous Laughter, Unseen Servants, Witch Bolt. Level 2 Warlock spells. Cloud of Daggers, Crown of Madness, Darkness, Enthrall, Hold Person, Invisibility, Mind Spike, Minor Image, Misty Step, Ray of Enfeeblement, Spider Climb, Suggestion. Level 3 Counterspell, Dispel Magic, Fear, Fly, Gaseous Form, Hunger of Hadar, Hypnotic Pattern, Magic Circle, Major Image, Remove Curse, Summon Fae, Summon Undead, Tongues, Vampiric Touch. Level 4 Banishment, Blight, Charm Monster, Dimension Door, Hallucinatory Terrain, Summon Aberration. Level 5 Contact Other Plane, Dream, Hold Monster. Jalarzi's Storm of Radiance, Mislead, Planar Binding, Scrying, Synaptic Static, Teleportation Circle. Level 6 Warlock spells. Arcane Gate, Circle of Death, Create Undead, Eye Bite, Summon Fiend, Tasha's Bubbling Cauldron, True Seeing. Level 7 Etherealness, Finger of Death, Force Cage, Plane Shift. Level 8 Befuddlement, Demiplane, Dominate Monster, Glibness, Power Word Stun. Level 9 Astral Projection, Foresight, Gate, Imprisonment, Power Word Kill, True Polymorph, Weird. Warlock subclasses. A Warlock subclass is a specialization that grants you features at certain Warlock levels, as specified in the subclass. This section presents the Archfey Patron, Celestial Patron, Fiend Patron, and Great Old One Patron subclasses. Archfey Patron. Bargain with whimsical Fey. Your pack draws on the power of the Feywild. When you choose this subclass, you might make a deal with an Archfey such as the Prince of Frost, the Queen of Air and Darkness, Ruler of the Gloaming Court, or Tatiana of the Summer Court, and an Ancient Hag, or an Ancient Hag. Or you might call on a spectrum of Fey, weaving a web of favors and debts. Whoever they are, your patron is often inscrutable and whimsical. Level 3 Archfey spells. The magic of your patron ensures you always have certain spells ready. When you reach a Warlock level specified in the Archfey spells table, you therefore always have the listed spells prepared. At level 3, you have Calm Emotions, Fairy Fire, Misty Step, Phantasmal Force, Sleep. At level 5, you have Blink, Plant Growth. At level 7, you have Dominate Beast and Greater Invisibility. At level 9, you have Dominate Person and Seeming. Level 3. Steps of the Fae. Your patron grants you the ability to move between the boundaries of the plane. You can cast Misty Step without expending a spell slot a number of times equal to your charisma modifier, minimum of once. And you regain all expended uses when you finish a long rest. In addition, whenever you cast that spell, you can choose one of the following additional effects. Refreshing Step. Immediately after you teleport, or one creature you can see within 10 feet of you yourself gains 1d10 temporary hit points. Taunting Step. Creatures within 5 feet of the space you left must succeed on a wisdom saving throw against your spell DC, or have disadvantage on attack rolls against creatures other than you until the start of your next turn. Level 6. Misty Escape. You can cast Misty Step as a reaction in response to taking damage. In addition, the following effects are now among your steps of the Fae options. Disappearing Step. You have the invisibility condition until the start of your next turn, or until immediately after you take an attack roll, deal damage, or cast a spell. Dreadful Step. Creatures within 5 feet of the space you left, or the space you appear in, your choice, must succeed on a wisdom saving throw against your spell DC, or take 2d10 psychic damage. Level 10. Beguiling Defenses. Your patron teaches you how to guard your mind and body. You are immune to being the charmed condition. In addition, immediately after a creature you can see hits you with an attack roll, you can take a reaction to reduce the damage you take by half, rounded down. And you can force the attacker to make a wisdom saving throw against your spell DC. On a failed save, the attacker takes psychic damage equal to the damage you take. Once you use this reaction, you can't use it again until you finish a long rest or expend a pack magic spell slot. No action required to restore use of it. Level 14. Bewitching Magic. Your patron grants you the ability to weave your magic with teleportation. Immediately after you cast an enchantment or illusion spell using an action and a spell slot, you can cast Misty Step as part of the same action and without expending a spell slot. Celestial Patron. Call the power of the heavens. Your pack draws on the upper planes of the realms of everlasting bliss. You might enter an agreement with an Empyrean, a Coatl, a Sphinx, a unicorn, or another heavenly entity. You might call on numerous such beings as your pursuit goals align with theirs. Your pact allows you to experience a hint of the holy light that illuminates the multiverse. Level 3. Celestial Spells. The magic of your patron ensures you always have certain spells ready. When you reach a Warlock level specified in the Celestial Spells table, you thereafter always have the listed spells prepared. Level 3. Aid. Cure Wounds. Guiding Bolt. Lesser Restoration. Light. Sacred Flame. Level 5. Daylight. Revivify. Level 7. Guardian of Faith. Wall of Fire. Level 9. Greater Restoration. Summon Celestial. Level 3. Healing Light. You gain the ability to channel celestial energy to heal wounds. You have a pool of d6s to fuel this healing. The number of dice in the pool equals 1 plus your Warlock level. As a bonus action, you can heal yourself or one creature you can see within 60 feet of yourself, expending dice from the pool. The maximum number of dice you expend at once equals your charisma modifier, minimum of 1 dice. Roll the dice you expend and restore the number of hit points equal to the rolled numbers total. Your pool regains all expended dice when you finish a long rest. Level 6, Radiant Soul. Your link to your patron allows you to serve as a conduit for radiant energy. You have resistance to radiant damage. Once per turn, when a spell you cast equals radiant or fire damage, you can add your charisma modifier to the spell's damage against one of the spell's targets. Level 10, Celestial Resilience. You gain temporary hit points whenever you use your magical cunning feature or finish a short or long rest. These temporary hit points equal your Warlock level plus your charisma modifier. Additionally, choose up to 5 creatures you can see when you gain the points. Those creatures each gain temporary hit points equal to half your Warlock level plus your charisma modifier. Level 14, Searing Vengeance. When you or an ally within 60 feet of you is about to make a death saving throw, you can unleash radiant energy to save the creature. The creature regains hit points equal to half its hit point maximum and can end the prone condition on itself. Each creature of your choice that is within 30 feet of the creature takes radiant damage equal to 2d8 plus your charisma modifier, and each has the blinded condition until the end of the current turn. Once you use this feature, you can't use it again until you finish a long rest. Fiend Patron. Make a deal with the lower planes. Your pack draws on the lower planes of the realms of perdition. You might forge a bargain with the demon lord or such a demagon, or Orcus, or an archdevil, such as Asmodeus, or a pit fiend as Balar, or Yorgoloth. I hope I'm saying that right. Or Night Hag, as it is especially mighty. That patron's aims are evil, the corruption or destruction of all things, ultimately including you. And your path is definitely by extent to which you strive against those aims. Level 3, Dark One's Blessing. When you reduce an enemy to 0 hit points, you gain temporary hit points equal to your charisma modifier plus your Warlock level minimum of 1 hit point. You also gain this benefit if someone else reduces an enemy within 10 feet of you to 0 hit points. Level 3, Fiend Spells. The magic of your patron ensures you always have certain spells ready. When you reach a Warlock level specified by the Fiend's spells table, you thereafter have the listed spells prepared. 3rd level, Burning Hands, Command, Scorching Ray, Suggestion. 5th, Fireball, Stinking Cloud. 7th, Fire Shield, Firewall. 9, Geese insect plague. Level 6, Dark One's Own Luck. You can call on your fiend patron to alter fate in your favor. When you make an ability check or saving throw, you can use this feature to add 1d10 to your roll. You can do so after seeing the roll, but before any of the roll's effects occur. You can use this feature a number of times equal to your charisma modifier, minimum of once. You can use it no more than once per roll. You will gain all expended uses when you finish a long rest. Level 10, Fiendish Resilience. Choose one damage type. Other than force. Whenever you finish a short or long rest, you have resistance to that damage type until you choose a different one with this feature. Level 14, Hurl Through Hell. Once per turn, when you hit a creature with an attack, you can try to instantly transport the target to the lower planes. The target must succeed on a charisma saving throw against your spell save DC, or the target disappears and hurls through nightmare landscape. The target takes 8d10 psychic damage if it isn't a fiend, and it has the incapacitated condition until the end of your next turn, when it returns to the space it previously occupied, or the nearest unoccupied space. Once you use this feature, you can't use it again until you finish a long rest, unless you expend a packed magic spell slot. No action required to restore use of it. Great Old One patron, unearth forbidden lore of ineffable beings. When you choose this subclass, you might bind yourself to an unspeakable being from the far realms of an elder god, a being such as a Therazadrun, the Chained God, Zargon, and the Returner, Hadar, the Dark Hunger, or the Great Cthulhu. Or you might invoke several entities without yoking yourself to one. The motives of these beings are incomprehensible, and the Great Old One might be indifferent to your existence. But the secrets you've learned nevertheless allow you to draw strange magic from it. Level 3, Awakened Mind. You can form a telepathic connection between your mind and the mind of another. As a bonus action, choose one creature you can see within 30 feet of yourself. You and the chosen creature can communicate telepathically with each other while the two of you are within a number of miles equal to your charisma modifier, minimum of 1 mile. To understand each other, you each must mentally use the language of the other knows. The telepathic connection lasts for a number of minutes equal to your Warlock level. It ends early if you use this feature to connect with a different creature. Level 3, Great Old One Spells. The magic of your patron ensures you always have certain spells ready. When you reach a Warlock level specified in the Great Old One spell table, you thereafter always have the listed spells prepared. Great Old One Spells. Level 3, Detect Thoughts. Dissonant Whispers, Phantasmal Force, Tasha's Hideous Laughter. Level 5, Clairvoyance, Hunger of Hadar. Level 7, Confusion, Summon, Apparitionation. Level 9, Modify Memory, Telekinesis. Level 3, Psychic Spells. When you cast a Warlock spell that deals damage, you can change its damage type to Psychic. In addition, when you cast a Warlock spell that is an enchantment or illusion, you can do so without verbal or somatic components. Level 6, Clairvoyant Combatant. When you form a telepathic bond with a creature using your awakened mind, you can force the creature to make a wisdom saving throw against your spell DC. On a failed save, the creature has disadvantage on attack rolls against you, and you have advantage on attack rolls against that creature for the duration of the bond. Level 10, Eldritch Hex. Your alien patron grants you powerful curses. You always have the Hex spell prepared. When you cast Hex, choose an ability, the target also has disadvantage on saving throws for the chosen ability for the duration of the spell. Level 10, Thought Shield. Your thoughts can be read telepathically or other means unless you allow it. You also have resistance to psychic damage, and whenever a creature deals psychic damage to you, that creature takes the same amount of damage that you take. Level 14, Create Thrall. When you cast Summon Aberration, you can modify it so that it doesn't require concentration. If you do so, the spell's duration becomes 1 minute for that casting, and when summoned, the aberration has a number of temporary hit points equal to your Warlock level plus your Charisma modifier. In addition, the first time each turn the aberration hits a creature under the effect of your Hex, the aberration deals extra psychic damage to the target equal to the bonus damage of that spell. Well, folks, that concludes the Warlock. Like, subscribe, and until next time.